Liverpool and Manchester City, considered by many the two strongest teams at the moment, were expected to meet in the Champions League final. But the semi-finals happened to be extremely dramatic. Villarreal, the underdog, seemed very close to beating Liverpool for a moment, while City lost in added time when the final was almost in the bag. Real Madrid showed us that you don't have to dominate the game from the kickoff whistle. You only need to hit the opponent where it hurts when the time is right. As a result, there will be two different teams in the final, both the highest quality, and these teams will surely give us the entertainment we want to see. We've seen a number of Spanish and English Champions League finals in recent years. In 2013, there were two German teams playing, and in 2013, Juventus and Milan were the two Italian teams to make it into the final. Throughout the tournament's history, including European Champions Cup, many clubs from different countries won the trophy, but none of them was from this country. Which one? Scotland, Romania, Belgium, Yugoslavia. Leave your answers in the comments and get ready for watching. Real Madrid, the journey to the final. Fun fact: Real Madrid hasn't drawn a game once throughout this Champions League campaign, while there were plenty of wins and losses. After a disgraceful defeat against Sheriff 2-1, even the most loyal fans must have doubted that the team would go this far. Too many problems got exposed. However, the team managed to recover from that, won against Shakhtar 5-0, then got their revenge against Sheriff and then beat Inter 2-0 thanks to the Vinicius-Benzema partnership that started making things work at last. PSG with Messi, Mbappe and Neymar in attack were their rivals in the round of 16. The first leg was really boring with nothing to remember apart from Mbappe's late wonder goal. At Bernabeu, he scored again and it seemed PSG were going through. But then it all fell apart. 3 goals in 17 minutes made way for the Kings. In the quarterfinal, Real Madrid faced the reigning champions, Chelsea. After a convincing 3-1 victory in the first leg, Real Madrid conceded 3 goals and was on the brink of relegation. But ultimately, Rodrigo's goal, assisted by Modric, sent the game into extra time, and then it was the brilliant Benzema to say the final word. And how many comebacks can one team make? Well, Real Madrid got destroyed by Manchester City in the first leg. The citizens scored 4, and it could have been more. Real Madrid scored 3, but it seemed nothing more than a lucky coincidence. But if a team keeps winning against all odds, time after time, then it's not luck, it's quality. And Real Madrid showed it yet again in the second leg. City was in control, and when Mahrez scored in the 73rd minute, the game seemed to be over, so Guardiola even subbed off the team leaders, keeping the following Premier League game in mind. But Real Madrid had Rodrigo, the one to score 2 goals in added time. And once again there was overtime, and once again Benzema scored a winner. Yet another miracle of Real Madrid. Liverpool, the journey to the final. 6 wins in 6 matches. It may seem that the group stage was a walk in the park for Liverpool, but not really. The first game against Milan at Anfield was a very tough one, and Liverpool was losing 2-1 and had to make a comeback. At San Siro, once again Liverpool had to turn the tide of the match to win. The same against Atletico. 3-2 was the score, and who knows if Liverpool could have won that if it were not for the questionable red card for Griezmann. Even the game against Porto was won only in the second half, so it wasn't easy at all, and often it was Liverpool's quality to decide the game. In the round of 16, there was a convincing 2-0 victory against Inter in the first leg. In the second leg, however, Inter was the better team and won 1-0. The red card for Alexis in the 63rd minute saved the day for Liverpool. It wasn't easy against Benfica in the quarterfinal either. The first game ended 3-1 in favor of Liverpool, but in the second leg they conceded 3 and needed Diaz and Salah's brilliance to make up for it. After that, Klopp's team had to face Villarreal, the team that had beaten 2 big clubs, Juventus in the round of 16 and then Bayern in the quarterfinal. But no one really expected another miracle from the Spanish side, especially after they got destroyed in the first leg. 2-0 was the score, but it could have been way worse for Villarreal. Even when they conceded a goal, they stayed true to their defensive football. Unai Emery's side had no chance even at home, it seemed, but all of a sudden scored 2 before the halftime whistle. We can only imagine how angry Jurgen Klopp was and what he said to players in the dressing room. But as a result, Liverpool scored after a long position attack 62 minutes in. Then they scored 2 more goals and made it into the final. The strength of Real Madrid. Well, everybody knows Real Madrid's strength. This is a team of incredible experience. The likes of Benzema, Kroos, Modric, Casemiro, Alaba and Carvajal have seen and won it all. The Champions League final for them is just another day in the office. The team's ability to win seemingly unwinnable games is just outstanding. Real Madrid knows exactly when to take a breather and when to strike, should the opponent lose concentration. That's what happened to PSG, Chelsea and Manchester City. The team does have a weak spot though, the defense. Militao and Alaba may lack quality should they face top attackers in the penalty area, while Carvajal and Mendy get too carried away with attacks sometimes. Real Madrid's game is in balance thanks to the midfield trio Casemiro, Modric, Kroos. The Brazilian is probably the best defensive midfielder in the world as far as tackling is concerned. The German is the team's metronome, the one who controls the tempo and the direction of the attacks, while Modric is not only an elite playmaker, but also a pressing machine. So together, these three make the team play its football. What we must also mention is of course the attack. Vinicius' pace is extremely hard to neutralize. The Brazilian is by far the best Champions League dribbler this season. Vinicius 138, Mumi Young Boys 95, Rafa Silva Benfica 94, Adama Traore Sheriff 81, Kingsley Coman Bayern 77. The Brazilian's pace is Real Madrid's most dangerous counter-attacking weapon. As for Benzema, not only is he the best Champions League goalscorer, but also the second best chance creator. Mahrez 22, Benzema 21, Tadic 18, Mbappe 18, Alexander-Arnold 17. Karim is the essential part of the team's attacking football, the one to score decisive goals in overtime. That's what makes Real Madrid the team that can win against any opponent, no matter how the game is going. The team that can explode at the right moment and, like a boxer, get a win with a couple of devastating hooks. The strength of Liverpool. We've got used to seeing Liverpool competing for all the trophies and playing in the finals on a regular basis. But we should not forget the previous season, as Liverpool had to climb up from the mid-table position. But that crisis ultimately made them stronger, first of all mentally. Now the players know that they are capable of beating any opponent despite any obstacles, and that is something that may serve them well in the final. Now Liverpool is way more consistent and versatile. Not only there's a Van Dijk-Matip partnership in defense, but also Konate able to replace each of these two. At last we see the proper Thiago in midfield, the player we used to admire while he was at Bayern. And in attack, there's a newcomer of amazing pace and technique, Luis Diaz. And the very Liverpool team now has more depth, and Klopp now has a number of players to rotate the squad. What is more, Salah has grown into the clinical finisher, making the right decision 9 out of 10 times. Trent is also back on his level, one of the best fullbacks in Europe. And Fabinho is almost impossible as a holding midfielder. You surely need a bit of luck to beat this team. Face-to-face. Last time they met in the Champions League 2021, Real Madrid with Zidane as a coach executed pressing and a counter-attacking game plan perfectly. Won 3-1 at Bernabeu and defended well at Anfield 0-0. These two teams played each other in the Champions League 8 times in total. First 4 games were won by Liverpool, but then, after 2010, there were 3 Real Madrid wins in 4 matches with the score 7-2 on aggregate. The rivalry has another dimension, that is, Klopp versus Ancelotti, as the Italian is one of the toughest opponents for Jurgen. The two coaches faced each other 10 times, 4 wins for Carlo, 3 for Klopp and 3 draws. It gets more interesting should we mind that Carlo was often in charge of the weaker side and still avoided defeat, like it was with Everton last season. A draw at home and a 2-0 win at Anfield. Carlo's Napoli had 2 wins against Klopp's Liverpool and 1 loss. So you'd better not expect Liverpool to win this one with ease, as it's very possible that Klopp will make the same mistake that Guardiola, Tuchel and Pochettino had made. Don't jump to conclusions. How is the game going to go? Now, keeping in mind the team's face-to-face result, we'd like to predict the way the game is going to unfold. Though there are some differences, both teams have stayed true to their football. So, in the first leg at Bernabeu, Real Madrid played a solid pressing game. Kroos and Modric didn't really move much, but moved smartly, closing down the Liverpool defenders and forcing them to play long balls. We must admit that the first-choice defenders were injured at that time, so Phillips and Kabak, 2 pretty inexperienced players, had to form the defensive duo, and that couldn't help but affect both defensive game and the transition. Real Madrid was putting the most pressure on this weak spot, playing through balls while Vinicius and Asensio were making runs behind the defenders' back and closing down on them. Ancelotti would probably try that in the final, having Valverde, Vinicius, Benzema and Modric. Will Real Madrid press high? That is the question. It may reduce the threat to their weak spot, Alaba, Militao in defense. However, it may also leave them exposed and vulnerable to through balls, while Salah, Mane and Jota will be making runs. So we don't expect Real Madrid to be that brave with their pressing, and rather utilize it at the right time, like they did against Man City. Vinicius will be the key. Apart from his runs and dribbles, he'll have to help the full-back defend against Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah. Trent, by the way, is one of the best 5 players in the Champions League as far as key passes are concerned. Mahrez, 24, Trent, Bruno, Coman, Benzema, 23. The trio Salah, Henderson, Trent is going to be essential for Liverpool's passing play, while on the left Jota and Robertson are more about making runs and they're going to oppose Carvajal and Valverde. All in all, we're unlikely to see something completely new coming from Liverpool. The team is the 4th in the Champions League in terms of passes made per game. Chelsea 675, City 665, Celtic 665, Liverpool 661, Bayern 656. So we should expect a lot of possession and positional attacks from the English side, while Real Madrid would be patiently waiting for their chance, and Liverpool will have to be clinical in attack and also extremely composed in defense and limit the space for the Spanish side in order to deal with their counter-attacks. Conclusion. And what do you think? Will Klopp fall into Real Madrid's trap? Or will Liverpool not only be the better team but convert the chances as well? Will the quality of Real Madrid prevail once again? Or maybe you expect something different from the game? Let us know in the comments.